Hello, FlossTube Stitchers. Let's all welcome February, who seems to have come to the party early and then is staying late because there's 29 days. But we've been talking, family and customers and friends, and everybody seems to agree that January just flew by, seemingly for no reason. And all of a sudden we're like, how the heck is it February? I think in our area, it's because we had kind of a mild weather month. We had one stinking snow day that was rough, and then we had a week of nonstop rain and wind almost. But other than that, it was fairly mild. And I feel like maybe sometimes January drags if there's bad weather and it's keeping you from doing things, or it's anxiety producing as far as driving or having to shovel, that sort of thing. So maybe that's why, but how did February get here already? Anyway, this is Freebie February for me. It's something that I made up. I guess it was 2020, and it was before the pandemic because obviously it was February. And I think I had been feeling that not as many free charts were being given out like maybe there were 20 years ago at trade shows, or we would get a free chart to reproduce for our customers that would come in a newsletter or come in our automatic. And I felt like maybe we weren't seeing as many, and we used to stitch them all up and make kits, and it was really fun. So I started looking for things, and to show them on FlossTube, it needs to be something that you can get yourself online. I still put free charts in mail orders that I send, and usually those are ones that we have printed for customers in the store. And a lot of times I look first to see whether it's available, to see if I could use it, if I have a finish of it, if I could use it for Freebie February. But a lot of times it was, before the internet or before we were doing that sort of thing on the internet. So anyway, I'll get to that in a minute, but first I'm going to show you a couple of our February shop models that are newer. And coincidentally or not, they're all from Carol Leonard, because of course she is the monthly queen. So the first one is Bent Creek February Glows, and it's from that series of rhyming months. And so that's really sweet. She just pops them in and out of the same frame. And then this is from Primrose Cottage Stitches, and it's part of their 9-patch series. And she stitched this on, let's see, Petty Point, pink with white. It says pink/white, something like that. Fabric Flare, and I think she got it from Stitchery Express because I have not seen this available from our distributor. So that's really cute. And then I told you I was going to show these to you a month at a time. So let's see if I can show this without so much glare. Okay, this is from Cross Stitch Wonders, and this is their Mug of the Month series. So this is quite a bit bigger. She did have these professionally stretched. And then Bonnie gives her a backing board, and she has the turn buttons on the back so they can be easily switched out. And then there's glass in the front. So when we switch out the pictures, we don't even have to touch the glass. We just lift everything out, put the new one in, and it's very easy. I have all of those charts in stock. Somebody had indicated interest in buying all of them, but they haven't followed through yet, so I still have all 12 months in stock. I'm just gonna put this aside here. Let's see, I think I'll put, so that I don't have things really stacked on top of each other, I'll put those over there as well. Then my vintage stitch, let's see, I will put it on my white board here. This is banding, and I believe this was a class we did for the club that Just Stitching sponsored years ago. And this is pattern darning, not cross stitch, although you probably could figure out how to do it in cross stitch as well. But I love how with the banding, you don't have to finish anything. There's no knots, there's no glue, there's nothing holding anything in place. you just continue the thread all the way to the edge of where your bookmark is going to be fringed, and then you leave that as part of the fringe. So that was really a cute project. It was quick. I'm not sure we finished it all in one evening, but very doable with easy instructions for people to go home with the project. So I found that just recently, and I thought, oh, good. I won't have to save it for next year because I found it before February was over. All right, that goes there. Then for the first day of February, I actually showed something that I had already stitched. I wanted to start off the month of February with a Valentine, and as it turned out, it was good that I wasn't having to stitch something that evening because a member of our extended family passed that day, and so the evening was spent communicating between family members, and it actually was my dad's younger brother. He has a younger brother and a younger sister, and it was his brother that passed in California. And my dad was out to dinner with a friend, and we wanted to wait till he got home to tell him in person. So my brother and I went over. And so that shot the evening for me as far as stitching goes. And I was glad that I had this planned. So this is Love from the Stitcherhood. And she does have a website where she, I didn't check today to see whether this was up, but she changes the free charts on her website according to the season. So it might be there that now, but the link I've been giving is the one to her blog, which doesn't change. You can always find it. So I will put the links in the show notes. I also put them on each day that I show something. And then at the end of the month, I'll put all 29 of them in one place again. Now, when I showed this on Thursday, I believe my text in the post said that this fabric had been discontinued. And I found evidence to the contrary today. This is 32 count Inferno Lugana, and it had been part of the very first fabric automatic of the month that we had ever heard of, and it was years ago. It came from Needleworker's Delight in New Jersey, and it was a silk weaver's fabric. And I believe this is how I found out, because we also did a Halloween on the same color. It's interesting because people like to stitch on all kinds of different fabric now, and back then we could not sell colors to people. They just, unless, I don't know, even when we kitted it, we had extra frames made. Sometimes we would put things with it, like a Valentine card or something else that was heart-shaped. We would make up a fun little kit. And I don't know, other than that, we had a hard time selling colors. And so this color was not selling on its own. And I decided I was going to stitch a free chart on it. As a shop owner, we have to figure out how to sell things. And so anyway, it's a really pretty color. It's kind of a rosy, corally color. And I thought it worked well for Valentine's Day. Not everything has to be cotton candy pink. And this would look good in my house. And the things I stitch, I do plan on having in my house, someday when they're not a shop model. So I enjoyed it, and we sold a lot of kits back in the day. But I did find my notes today, and it's still available. I found it on Needlework Retailer's website under Silk Weavers, under Lugana. And it might be available in linen too. I was only looking at the Lugana. So did I say it was 32 count? So anyway, that was really sweet. I still love it. It was a really quick stitch. I don't remember. Maybe one long evening of stitching because it's really little. Okay, let me put that up there. Then day 2, I did Frosty from Luminous Fiber Arts, and this is a gift chart that she gives you when you sign up for her newsletter. I think there might have been another free chart after this one, but when you go to her website, this is what it says, that you get this one. And if she sends you a newsletter and there's a new free chart, I'm sure you could ask her for this one. I don't think I even printed it. I've been using just the picture, or I'd been stitching it from my device, you know, because it was easy. So I had this perfect scrap. That's how big it was. And I was thinking of doing a snow design this way, but I thought, no, this is perfect. And a lot of my snowmen are blue, you know, or black, you know, because there's a black hat or something. But when I looked at my snowman ornaments and my tabletop trees and my other decor, I thought that I could start adding in some more of this minty turquoisey color because of other newer things that I have. So I decided this was perfect. I was using Presentia floss, and this color is a shade in between DMC 30, I wrote it down. It's in the, I didn't write it down for today, but it's in the post. So just in case you wanted, if you wanted to use DMC, there's a series of turquoise that this actually was in the middle of it. And since I knew I was going to only stitch with one strand, I wanted to do a darker shade so that it would look good, but I also didn't want it to look black or forest green. I wanted it to still maintain, you know, the teal look to it. So that's why I chose the Presentia, because it was kind of in between the two colors. The first night I did almost everything. The second time I worked on it, I did those two snowflakes and his buttons. So if you started early enough in the evening, or maybe on the weekend, if you started late afternoon, you could get it done in one day. But he's cute. This is 32 Mint Splash Lugana from Zweigart. So it's not hand-dyed, it's a plain color on the back, but it's called Mint Splash. All right, that's that. Then day 3, let's see if I can just get this all. I want to show you the whole chart if you didn't see my post. So this is called An Autumn Night, and it's by Giulia, oh shoot, I forgot her last name, Manfredini. Anyway, her company is Giulia Punti Antichi. She's from Italy, and for those of you who know that designer, she does more sampler things, and she does all the really pretty doll skirts and things like that. So this doesn't necessarily look like her style, but it was on her website. It's on her website under the freebie category, and she describes it as Quaker-like. And it is kind of Quaker-like. So anyway, I thought it was different. I had another piece of fabric I was going to use, but it was too big and I didn't want to waste it for this. So this was a little scrap. I thought it was 30 count R&R, one of their earlier coffee dyes. And because of that, I wanted to use 2 strands. And oh, I don't have the other floss in front of me, but the reason I chose sarsaparilla is because I had 5 skeins of it. I had 5, and I usually take 10-yard skeins because when I get a new color, I always take a 10-yard for myself. And maybe there's even more in my house, but I found 5 and corralled them all together and then picked the dye lot that I liked the best, that had a little bit of brightness to it. I wanted some variation in color since the design was kind of small. So I decided I wanted to stitch with 2 strands because I had plenty of floss. So I did 2. Well, as I started stitching, I thought, wow, this is, you know, it's really thick. It's really, you know, it's covering well. It's really thick. But because it's very open, I think it still looks good. And I was going to manipulate it if it didn't work out, but I wanted the tail to end up being the lighter color in the sarsaparilla, and it worked out perfectly. So anyway, that was, you know, basically one evening's work, and I think just one more evening and I'll have that finished. Okay, now today is day 4. So of course I'm doing this before I would ordinarily be stitching at home. And so I'm also showing you something that I had already stitched. So this is just called B, and I think it says free in parentheses or something, but it's just called B from Nikyscreations. And did I say the GPA one was from like, oh, that I think that was from 2014. I think this was from 2011, but whatever it is, it's in the link, you can see. But it was older, and I did it on 28 count Berkshire High from Fabric Flair, back when it used to be beige. Ay, ay, ay. The next time I ordered it, it was green. And you know, let's see, I think I got this in 2019, and I've sold 2 pieces of the whole yard since 2019 because it's green, people. Now, maybe if we did a one color design on it, it wouldn't matter so much that it was green, but it was really disappointing to me because it's not just a little bit different. It's quite dramatically different. And so this would not show up well on it, especially the green stem. So anyway, I may talk to them about it and reorder another yard, and maybe I really will buckle down and find something to stitch on this, but that was disappointing. But I did this for an event that I called A Honey of a Stitching Bee. It was April 30th, 2017. And I picked April because that's my birthday, and bees are a beloved theme of mine to stitch and collect decor. And also it was my grandfather's birthday, and he was the beekeeper. My grandfather, Pappy, in West Virginia was the beekeeper. So I had this event, and I think we could take 20 people at the time. It was maybe it was the first event that I had in this location after I downsized. And so it had to be limited, but it was really fun. It was fun to plan because I just was so in love with the theme. So they got this whole packet of information. There were quotes about bees and honey. We had a spelling bee for technical sewing terms. I told bee jokes. Maybe I'll spend a whole FlossTube on bee stuff sometime, and I'll tell you more about it. But they got, I think they got 12 designs. There's 8 written out that I gave ideas for and showed product that we actually had in the shop that would be good for finishing that particular free chart. So anyway, and we had lunch from Honey Baked Ham, of course. And then I made my own snack mix, and I called it a Honey of a Stitching Bee snack mix. It had just random, like open up a bag and pour it together in a bowl. Honey nut checks, chocolate Teddy Grahams, braided honey wheat pretzel sticks, honey nut Cheerios, yellow and brown M&Ms, honey roasted peanuts, honeycomb cereal, yellow and brown pretzel M&Ms, and then I threw in semi-sweet and dark chocolate chips because I like chocolate. So anyway, that was really fun. And someday I'll show you the rest of these projects too. But for now, I just did the bee from Nikyscreations. And I found one package left that we had. It's not finished because, I'm sorry, I keep holding up the same thing. This came in a pack of 100. Okay, we didn't have 100 people, and they only got 1, or maybe I gave them 2, in case they flubbed one up. And it was stitched with just 1 stitch on the inside of the petal, so that there was still, the petal was still kind of sticking up a little bit. It wasn't completely flat. And then I gave them all a mother of pearl button from my button stash. Anyway, this is missing the pink flower, but I found the package, so go figure. I don't know where the rest of the flowers are. Maybe I did use them for another project and I'm just not remembering, but I think I got it. They're just called paper flowers from Recollections, and I don't know if that's a store brand. It said nothing on the back that made any sense to me. It didn't, list anything that looked like one of our local chain stores. I think I got it in the scrapbook department. So anyway, maybe someday I'll be able to make more kits for these, but you can still stitch the chart if you want to get going on that. All right, let me put that down there. So that was today's. Before February started, I had some whips. So this was Liberty House from You and I and Friends, and it is still available. So the next time I order from Ruth at Twisted Threads, I'll get some of these charts. It won't come like this because this was a kit that I either purchased at an event or I took the class. And yeah, so you saw this once before, and I've done quite a bit since then. I have a lot of, real quick, I have a lot of fiddly tails on the back because since there's very little room for starting and ending a thread, and I didn't want to put like the red under a different color or something, I pulled all the tails to the back because I need to wind those under the areas that I finished. So sorry if there's tails showing in the back, but voila. I have to finish the white inside the flag streamer thingy. I don't know why I'm waiting till last, because you know how I am about stitching white, but they're Smyrna crosses, and I might do them in pearl cotton or sulky, or for some reason I just feel like they don't soak up the color as much as just plain white DMC. But I almost finished the house. I added the star and I started the border. So that's Liberty House. And I don't think I have too many designs that I can really finish in one night, although most of them are small. But I have an idea of what I want to accomplish that night so that I can show it for that day's freebie offering. And if I have any other time during the day to stitch, I may go back and work on another whip. But I'm not allowed to start anything new except for the Freebie February designs. All right. Also, tails. Okay. So I finished. I'm pretty sure I'm finished. I may go back and just double check, but I finished Snowman of Snowflakes. But see all the areas where there's just like 2 or 3 stitches? Oh my goodness, where do you wind those? So I have some fiddly, that's what I added last, like all the little areas, and I have to wind those under. I did one thing different. So the mittens and the scarf are dark charcoal, $37.99, I think. And that's fine. I like that, no problem. But they had the eyes, the mouth, and the band of the mittens in $33.71. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of black and brown together like that. I mean, maybe he's supposed to be a guy, but can't he have some color in the winter too? And plus, you couldn't even tell the difference between, you couldn't tell that there was a stripe there. So I waited until I was done and pulled a color that wasn't too close to that area. And I added one of the colors that was already in there for the snowflakes. And then I just really liked the crisp look of black for the eyes and the mouth. But anyway, he was really fun. And this was a total of, besides winding under the threads, which, you know, I didn't do the last night I stitched because I was just lazy probably. But besides that, this was 4 evenings of stitching. And it's a, you know, it's a decent sized piece. So I just love these kits. We do still have more, and then there will be more coming in my next order. All right, so that is my finish. Then, let's see, I'll show you this first. These are the new ones from Brenda. Yes, I know, last time I did an in-person video, I showed you with Thy Needle too. Those were Valentine's Day. She sent her Easter. I want to say she's not going to market, but I forgot to look it up for sure. So this is called Grandma's Candy Dish. I'm sorry, I forgot to take these out of the plastic. I meant to, but it really does look like Grandma's Candy Dish. I'm sure both my grandmothers had something similar to that. And then this is Hoppy Easter. It's one of her like creatures with big faces, I call them, but so cute. A lot of white, but it's very, very cute. And the last one is 'Tis Spring, which obviously is going to be a seasonal series. Very pretty. So that was on the automatic this week. I also got the Atomic Ranch Fabric Auto for January. And most of them really were extremely similar in color. I feel like the higher counts of linen and just the 18 count Aida were a little more creamier, and these were a little lighter, but it's a very, very pretty color. We were comparing it yesterday for a customer, and it's darker than antique white, but lighter than ivory, with a very nice, subtle, I don't even want to call it modeling, just a subtle shading. You know what, you can't, like, it doesn't show up on camera. But anyway, if you like working on Aida but don't like the stiffness, then get one of the subtle overdyes because they're always softer. So, and we still have openings in that Fabric of the Month club. Not in every count, but actually I could add to it. It might take 2 months to catch up, but I can add to it. Okay, so that's that. Then, oh, did I forget to bring that over? Okay. I thought I brought that over. Well, from the last video, not the bloopers reel, but the previous video, there was a Making Friends pre-finished pillow kit from Pine Mountain, and I picked the winner for that, and it was Rhonda, and I don't know how to say your last name. Is it Bats or Bots? Anyway, this is what she said. I want to reiterate that I don't pick the winner based on their comment. It's a random number generator, and I don't know whose comment is what, but this is what she said. I've stitched, well, the question was, tell me something, wasn't really a question, it was tell me something about a stitching friend. So she said, I've stitched for over 45 years. She started when she was very, very young, and have had many friends, from the Hoosier Stitch Group to co-workers to the local Fort Wayne EGA. I'm blessed. But the most recent is a co-worker I have known since 1981. We have stayed friends forever. She is working on a project for a friend's daughter who has cancer. We stitch Christmas ornaments to finish and hand out to cancer victims here in the Fort Wayne area. So fun to have like-minded friends that inspire the joy of stitching. Thanks, Rhonda, and just get me your physical address and I'll mail that out to you. Several people mentioned not really having friends in the area, especially, you know, that they can get together with, especially if there's no local shop. But quite a few mentioned that they consider FlossTubers friends, and I'm like, absolutely, of course. I feel the same way when I'm watching people on FlossTube. I feel like I know them. May seem a little stalkerish at times, but I feel that way too. So I absolutely, FlossTubers can be your friends. Okay, today's giveaway is also from my friend Bonnie, who gave the Pine Mountain kit. And this is by one of our former local designers. Her name was Katie, and her company was called Katie Did. And this is called Love You. And, you know, if you didn't want to, you could leave off the lettering and just do the sheep. And it's 32 count hand-dyed raspberry Joblin, which is not available right now. I hope they bring the hand-dyed Joblin back, but they were having production issues. And I asked about it because I had been waiting over a year to get a number of, I think I ordered every color that I was out of. And finally I'm like, what's happening here? It's not even in production. It's not on their website anymore. So anyway, you'd score by getting even just the piece of pink fabric. So tell me something about a local celebrity in your area. If you have a cross-stitch designer, that's awesome. If you have a singer or an actor or somebody else, basketball star, anybody else that lives in your area, tell me about that, and I'll put you in the drawing for this. Sad thing about Katie is that she was also a custom framer, and she had to stop stitching and framing because she had early onset Alzheimer's, and she forgot how to do everything. So it was very sad. But for a while, another local shop and I used to have her models on display. We'd switch them back and forth. And a lot of my customers went to her house to have their things framed, and she was so sweet. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a sweeter person, which was why it was just so sad. But anyway, tell me something nice about something uplifting about a celebrity in your area. Let's see. I think that's everything. One last, I went over 30 minutes, so hopefully this won't take forever to load, but I'm currently selling Nashville cash gift certificates for $25 each. You can get as many as you want. The first 2 customers bought $100 worth, but they're local, so they know they're going to find lots of stuff here over the next couple months to buy. You don't have to specifically pick out what Nashville merchandise you want to buy, because really there hasn't been a whole lot advertised so far. And the designers always have different things at market, surprises for us as well. So I prefer to sell the gift certificates so that you can use them later on anything. You have until the end of June. Actually, there's a few people that haven't used their Expo gift certificates yet from last August, but it's okay. You can still use them. I just don't like to fuss with the paperwork after too much time, but I never refuse one. So I like this idea because I'm not forced to stand in line in a room where I wasn't really planning on buying anything, just to buy one chart for one customer. So this way I can be very honest and say, you know what, get that from another shop because I'm not planning on buying from her. So you can still use the gift certificate for anything else, fabric, thread, buttons, other accessories that are either new or that are going with the project that you're stitching. I don't care what you use it for. It just gives me some extra cash at market to spend. So it benefits both of us. Okay, that's it. Another straight through video with no editing. So yay. And I will see you next week, and I'll show you the next week's worth of Freebie February and anything else new that comes in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, friend. Okay, see you next week. Bye-bye.